Hi, I'm Trustadamus with Lamplighter Media, and we help therapists and other service-based professionals market their practice. So I am actually a certified pastoral counselor and the owner and founder of Arizona Christian Counseling in Phoenix, Arizona. And I learned a lot of my skills in media actually from my undergrad. I went to Asbury University and studied film, television, and online media. And then after that, went to seminary, became a counselor, but really feel like my skills in media are really what gave me an edge in promoting my practice. And now we help other practices do the same through Lamplighter Media. So for this video series, I'm just reviewing different private practice websites. So if you have one that you would like me to review, go ahead and click the link in the description in order to apply. And I'm excited because the first video that I get to review is from another pastoral counselor. There aren't a whole lot of pastoral counselors. There's lots of LMFTs and psychologists and LPCs and so on and so forth, but pastoral counselors were kind of a little bit of a dying breed, but still, yeah, excited to review Revive Christian Counseling. This was submitted by Zach Gammon, and I'm just going to take a look at this. I really like the design, just looking at it so far. I see a lot of white space, which is a good thing to have. You don't want to overwhelm your visitors with too much text. It looks like it's actually, organized in a nice, clean way. So one of the first things that I want to look at is the menu for the website. And as I look on here, I notice that the About is not the first or second link. And I would suggest moving that to the front here. Most people expect the About to be the first or second tab. In fact, you may not even have to have the Home tab, since this logo up here links to Home. A lot of people know that that will automatically take them back to the home page. So I would put About at the very front. Home is kind of optional. Also, you want Contact to be at the very end. So most people, when they go to websites, they expect the About to be on the far left and the Contact tab to be on the far right. So I would probably rearrange this to About, then probably I need help with, and then Rates and Insurance, then Blog, then Make an Appointment, then Contact. And probably would just take Home off. The other thing also with a lot of the menu items is you want to keep it to 1 or 2 words each. So think about each of these tabs as just being signposts on a road that lead people to where they want to go. And so while I kind of, appreciate the creativity, I need help with, my marriage, recovering from an affair, feelings of depression. Most people don't want to read through all that, so you may just have to change this something to simple as counseling, and then marriage and infidelity, depression, anxiety. Just keep it so it's very easy to scan and people know exactly what it is. So there was a book that I read in undergrad called Don't Make Me Think. And pretty much the whole premise of the book was that any website or software should be very intuitive. It should be very clear what the person needs to do in order to find what they need on your website. So don't make me think. That's pretty much the whole premise, is don't make people try to have to figure out exactly, where they need to go. I probably noticed this a lot with a lot of church websites. They try to get a little creative. They put like serve or connect or uh, you don't want to get creative. People don't want to have to figure it out. They don't want to have to click through everything in order to get to the place where they want to be at. So kind of you have to be a little bit uncreative and make it fairly plain. So I notice also with the Rates and Insurance, clicking that, you don't actually take insurance. So this is just something that I kind of noticed with me, because I used to have the same thing where I'd put the rates/insurance. So your practice is like mine in that you don't take insurance, but you can provide a super bill, which is fine. I mean, you can put that in there. But what I noticed when I put Rates and Insurance is people, again, they wouldn't look, they wouldn't read things. They would just assume, oh, okay, so they take insurance. So they would call and they would try to set up an appointment, and they would, assume that we took Cigna or something. And we would tell them, no, we're just cash based. We can provide a super bill. But they said, well, I saw on your website that you take insurance. So if you're having the same thing, you may consider probably just knocking that off and just putting Rates instead. I also noticed that your rate is pretty low, and I don't know what your market is like in your area. I know it kind of depends what the standard rate is depending on the city. But I would suggest maybe raising that to $100. That's kind of probably standard, at least in most markets, for counseling. And you can always go lower. You can always provide a sliding scale. But I don't know. I would just suggest that seems pretty low to me. If I was looking for counseling, I would see that as probably a low number. So I would suggest maybe bumping that up a little bit. And if you're not comfortable with that, you can do maybe provide a 90-minute session for $100 and kind of get used to charging that rate. So that's just kind of a side note. But it does impact marketing because people attach value to a price. Let's see. So make an appointment. This looks pretty good so far. Let's see. I probably wouldn't put reduced fee counseling on there or the rate that you're willing to go down to. I don't know. I would probably just change that because there's some people that will always assume that the lowest rate that you post is what it's going to be. Again, I would just put 100 and then just make mention that you have a sliding scale rate. So let's see. I notice there's not. Okay, let's see. If I click this, I'm trying to go back home. How do I do that? Okay, so that works. All right, so let's go back to the home page. Also, I would say put the about over here. I would also put, so I like that you have a page for each of your clinicians. I would probably put some type of about page about your story that kind of gives people some background on your practice. People do like to read that. Put a lot of pictures on there too. I really like your blog also. I saw a lot of really good topics. How to set appropriate boundaries with people to finally get some peace. It's really good. I really like it. And I read a few of them and they're really good. So I definitely encourage you to keep doing that because this all comes across very practically. It's not overly clinical. That's what I noticed with a lot of counseling websites is that I think in the world of counseling that we can get so just locked into a therapist mindset. So we'll throw out terms like CBT or DBT or EMDR, and people don't know what that is. A lot of people don't even know the difference between an LPC or a psychologist or a psychiatrist or a pastoral counselor. They don't know the difference, and so we have to educate them. And so we can't also be throwing out all these terms that people don't know. Now, some people are looking for that, so I'm okay with listing those things as long as you explain what they are. So that's another side note. Here I would also probably try to keep it to 1 or 2 words. Grief and loss, that's good. Porn addiction. I would, again, probably get rid of a lot of the my's and just put marriage or couples and married couples or probably just couples counseling because not everybody's married nowadays. I'd probably change that to affair recovery. Get rid of feeling, just put depressed or depression, anxiety. So we want to keep it nice and clean so it's pretty easy for them to know right off the bat what it is. So I noticed your staff is about almost near the end of the page. I would see, I don't know if you probably use an app or a widget to kind of make these. These look like to me reviews and not necessarily staff bios. And I think that's just mainly because of the quotes here. So I would probably encourage you to, instead of using this, put probably larger pictures of each staff member and probably just 1 link rather than 3. Because again, this makes it, I would just change it to learn more instead of, learn more, contact me, schedule an appointment. And then from the learn more page, which is probably their bio, offer them the ability to contact or schedule an appointment. But I want to see bigger pictures of who is actually working through this practice. So I'll also encourage you to put them more at the top of the page. And maybe a different picture here of somebody's face. She's kind of looking away. It's not necessarily very inviting. She's not looking at the person. So maybe a different stock photo. I do like the stock photos overall though. They don't look cheesy. Unfortunately, a lot of stock photos do look very corny, but I like these are kind of more magazine quality. So I really like the selection of the type of stock photos that you have here. But definitely pull all of these staff bios toward the top because a lot of people are just this is all they're gonna see of your website. And then they're just gonna decide, okay, do I wanna keep looking or am I gonna click away? And so if you have too many people click away, that's what's known as bounce rate. And you can figure out what your bounce rate is if you sign up for Google Analytics. That's free. Just Google it and you can connect your website to that. And just notice what your bounce rate is. But some people want to see faces. Again, they want to connect with a person, and we want to connect them with the person as soon as possible. I don't see a phone number too. Okay, yeah, I see it right here. So try to make this phone number more prominent, maybe the size of this right here, because some people are looking for a phone number as soon as they log into a website. So anyway, those are just some of the suggestions that I have. Again, I like the overall design. Kudos on that. I really like the photos. I would just suggest some changes with some of the link titles and also the order of the tabs up here, just so it's more intuitive, it's much more clear what people need to do in order to get the information that they want and what they need to do if they want to schedule an appointment. So if you want me to review your website, click the link in the description. We also have a course on marketing for therapists called Proliferate Your Practice. The link is in the description there. But yeah, definitely look forward to reviewing your website.